Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have a little bit more PlayStation 5 Pro news and coverage to get to go and showcase up to all of you lovely folks. Now, as you guys probably know, we've had a chance to see some third-party titles, such as things like Alan Wake, have a chance to go and showcase off their game. And while we have been seeing a lot of good, we've also been seeing a lot of, lack of showcase when it comes to PlayStation titles. Now, we've seen a few different YouTube videos, and obviously, the big, proper PlayStation 5 press thing that we saw a few months ago, and I had a chance to showcase off a little bit of the gameplay. But that's the one thing I feel like a lot of people haven't had a chance to go and showcase. We haven't seen too much of the Horizons or even things like, say, Spider-Man, God of War, and I do think that's probably the best bread and butter that we can see when it comes to PlayStation 5 Pro. So right now, we actually do have someone out here from YouTube. We're going to do another quick reaction on this one to go and showcase up some of the proper PlayStation Studios game, now that I do believe some of the NDAs are at least kind of being all fully done and review embargoes are all good and proper. So we're going to go and showcase up with this in the background, although it is also just a little bit of a forewarning. Also through I believe, if you guys remember back in the day from Modern Warfare or Modern Warfare 2, Machinima Respawns, if you guys have been around on YouTube back then, major shouts to you guys, the old school C-nanners and all that type of vibes back in the day. But basically, they're recording this through also on the TV through their camera lens. You guys are going to see what I'm talking about. This is actually going to be our very first impression of a lot of different PlayStation 5 studio games. Now, obviously, whenever it does go officially come out in the next few days, I'm going to try my best to showcase up more stuff, but we've seen a lot of cool, nifty news when it comes to it and all around this. Basically saying over here that, well, Spider-Man 2 was the quintessential version of the Spider-Man experience, coming from Insomniac, and Insomniac actually kind of went pretty hardcore and discussed a lot of these various details and games, and actually might even be the nice little title from my thumbnail too as well. But basically, PlayStation's been a little bit on the laid-back side. We've seen some of their pro trailers over here, if you guys want to look through some of this, and we've had a chance to see little bits and pieces, which is nice, but once again, this is a trailer. It's not real life, and while it does look phenomenal, and it is probably from actual in-game footage over here from the Pro itself, as I mentioned, are not getting the full-on, this is cinematic trailers, and you guys can kind of see, it's not the end-all be-all. So that's why we're going to go and showcase up some other stuff over here, because we do have all these Pro titles that we've gone through, and while a lot of these are third parties, and we've covered some of them, like Alan Wake 2, etc., we still want to see a lot more of the stuff when it comes to the PlayStation, such as Spider-Man 2 and all of that other good stuff as well. So let's go and start off with that, and this is going to be also over here from Gamersnack, which will be linked down below in case you guys do want to see the video itself without it. I'm going to kind of give you guys my chime-in thoughts too as well, and make sure everything's also a little bit on the higher side too to go and showcase off the footage. Now, I also have had a few comments too on the recording settings, so I have bumped up my bitrate quite a bit, so if this is a bit more true to form of what you guys can go and see as we're reacting to this, and as well also it should be at least on a slightly at least good proper 1080p. It's a little bit hard because some of the quality does lose its image quality through YouTube to uploading, so if you guys don't mind on that. But I just want to go and showcase, I'm going to talk about this one, so sorry, forgive for the longer intro. Make sure you guys are subscribed if you guys would like. We also do have our PS5 Pro giveaway. We had a comment on this in the prior video before. I'm gonna maybe want to have this done either by Thanksgiving or the right before Christmas. I might want to go do it at Thanksgiving time and have another one, a separate one for Christmas, due to the fact if I'm making videos and getting views on it, might as well go and put some love towards you guys, because I'm not really a big fan of making money on YouTube. If you guys ever see ads, I usually like to put that towards back to the community. So keep that in mind. But anyway, so let me go and talk about this, because it's, it's a little bit on the weirder side to go and showcase up through the actual footage, as I mentioned, as we have seen people kind of showcase on the PS5 Pro, and it's not perfect. I gave you guys the heads up. Don't flame me, don't yell at me, don't talk about the resolutions. I understand the vibes, though. And also, if you guys want to pick up your own console, link down below if you guys would like. So we have a few things to kind of break down as we're kind of reacting towards Gamersnack's video over here. So first and foremost, the PS5 Pro has still been very secretive when it comes to all their PlayStation titles, and I'm not really sure why. We've seen those little bits and trailers, but I haven't seen too many of those deep dives in, say, Horizon. We have seen things like Hogwarts, as you guys have probably seen on my channel, and we might even have this as another separate video. We talked about this as of yesterday, discussing the fact that Elden Ring was maybe running at somewhat sluggier frames. Same with Alan Wake, although it does look nicer on the PS5 Pro vibe, it's still not 100% as perfect as we wish it could go and be. So anyway, this the video itself is going to kind of go through some of these other various games out here, more so namely in some of the bigger games too. And this is basically the list we talked about as well, where they have things like Spider-Man 2, which is PlayStation, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, which is PlayStation, and a few other various titles. But this is the very first time we've had a chance to go and see things like Spider-Man 2, and although it's not a full-on proper capture footage, as much as I would like to go and see it, based on those cool cinematics, whatever, we're going to take what we can go and get and kind of get to showcase everything we have a chance to. So as you guys can kind of see once again, I'm not really sure why they chose to do it this way, but we're just reacting to what we can react with. Bear with me. If I had my console in my hands, we'd be doing a little bit more. But either way, We have now seen, at least in terms of a lot of initial impressions from either outside reviews, people who've had their consoles, and as well as you guys can see this. I know it's not perfect. Please don't flame me. I'm trying my best, okay? I'm just trying to give you guys the best information I can. Basically, we do know that there's going to be slightly higher frames, and I think there's a few specific things on Spider-Man that'll be popping quite well. In regards to that, we're going to be looking mainly on the idea that's going to be way better shadows. As you guys probably know, I'm kind of repeating myself a lot in these videos. Ray tracing, better effects for lighting, which is definitely be very evident when it comes to Spider-Man. You have the skyscrapers, you have the buildings, you have the cars, you have the actual, if you guys want to try to go look throughout this video, look at Spider-Man himself. As you can maybe see his reflectory of his little, I almost want to pause on this. Look at the shadow. I could be wrong, and I almost want to relaunch on my PS5, but stuff like that is a big extension of how ray tracing and this machine learning will make it work. Having that real-time shadow following both from skyscrapers, cars, lighting effects, etc. are a big deal. And I hear some of these will still be better because I think they also showcased up some stuff such as from Red Dead Redemption, but this has a chance to go look through all the different various modes, such as, you know, their either performance mode or the PS5 Pro mode, which you mainly want to have the PS5 Pro mode. It does make everything a little bit better. You guys can also once again kind of see just either through TV stuff. I know it's not perfect. Please, no comments. I've been had so many comments. I'm sorry. But basically, you can kind of even see the extra details on the cars, the looks I like. People have made comments too that most of the games do look a little bit more on the darker side. And here's actually a really good pause too as well, which I kind of wish they would have did the entire video like this, you know, like proper capture, but you guys can kind of go and see some of these individual strands, and I would like to hear your thoughts and comments. Some people keep on saying it's not that much of a big change. Some people are saying it's pretty noticeable. I do think in comparison though between the fidelity mode and the pro mode, so think far left and far right, I do see some big differences. Like it kind of looks like it's like a frizzy hair into blurry hair into a just, well, it looks a little bit more clean. It looks more well kept. And as well, we also see the more individual textures too, a little bit more cleanly, such as the outskirts of the shoulder. It just looks a little smidgen bit nicer, at least in my opinion. Slightly better shadows and textures on, say, the backpacks and all of that. Like you could also kind of see the individualized details on the, like the strap a little bit better. Once again, though, I always want to remind people, the PS5 Pro is meant to be more of a bonus. It's a mid-console refresher. We're not expecting like the craziest improvements. It's just more of a slightly better. You spend an extra $200 in comparison to the PS5, and like you just make it's just a slightly better console. You utilize PSSR, use the ray tracing. It's a little bit more efficient, better hardware. Like it's not meant to be this crazy grandiose deal. But everything we have seen, I do feel like it is noticeable. And maybe like with my video being a slightly higher bitrate, people can see a little bit nicer. But we do see all this type of stuff, and I see it like happening in front of me. And I'm like, yeah, this looks nice. This looks good. As you kind of look through all these screenshots. And of course, once again, I've kind of pushed this a lot. Walls in buildings, these bricks. Look at maybe even this for a good example on the reflectories from the sun in these car games. Makes everything look a lot nicer. Makes the overall experience just a little bit cleaner. And I do think games like, say, like racing car games will look a lot nicer. It's kind of where we have a chance to kind of see our very first ever like PlayStation games, because this is Gran Turismo from Last of Us and also Spider-Man. Here's Ratchet and Clank. And they also, I think, have a comparison too as well in some of the more lighter load versions versus the PS5 Pro, which again, I do wish this was a more pure spot on in, but everything we've had a chance to go and see on their first impressions on everything, it is an improvement. Like Demon's Souls, this looks very vibrant, very immersive. And look at this actual gameplay right here, which I almost want to feel like I should pause on, because this is what I wish this entire video was like. This is why I can't wait to, you know, look through a little bit more stuff once more people have their proper PS5s. But the game itself, even in comparison to the PS5, I booted up my Demon's Souls before to give the comparison on it. It does look nicer. And this is also more of a slightly older game too as well, in the retrospect of the PS5. Same with Ratchet and Clank. So seeing this type of stuff is crazy. And even looking through the comparison for some of these things is like having a better see-through window experience. We've seen a lot with Alan Wake. Once again, having some of these individual textures over here in the middle to kind of go and see. It still looks very similar. I've had a lot of comments state that things do also look similar, but as well, a lot of people kind of just saying things also look darker. Even looking through this, it does seem like it's a little bit more on the darker side too as well. Looking at the skin, but it does look more realistic. If you have like a light in a room, you're going to go and see this like slightly more browner hue, which is part of the ray tracing. You have the hair itself, it looks a little bit more of a natural brown color. Makes a lot of sense. And this kind of has like pale skin versus like weird kind of fleshed out like hair and all that. Like it doesn't look bad. Don't get me wrong, it really doesn't look bad at all. And I think some people are okay with that, which is why it's okay if you don't think the PS5 Pro is some crazy big upgrade, where I've been pretty consistent on that. But at the same time, it is nice to go and see finally all this proper PlayStation footage. We have not seen too much live PlayStation footage so far, so seeing like The Last of Us, seeing like Spider-Man is a very nice big bolster up over here. Although I still wish the video was mostly through this as well, because it's like a nice way to go and see it. But still, seeing some games such as Spider-Man like that is a nice big push around for it. and I like to see it. Now, once again, though, don't forget there is different graphics mode, and the Pro is meant to kind of give you both the fidelity, but fidelity is meant to have, this might make some people dizzy. Don't forget, this should be a higher FPS, which look overall nicer. This is going to be a still looking nice, but lower FPS. Don't forget, you're buying the 60 FPS, which is why they're doing the video comparison between the two. And I, myself, looking at it, although maybe it's easier for me because I've been on PC, on a bad PC versus a better PC or whatever, I can tell the frame difference quite a bit. And even when people push this type of stuff to you, can kind of tell, and this is maybe even a good example for it. There's just a little bit more actual texturization on the actual jacket itself. This is nice. I mean, this is on a PlayStation game, don't get me wrong, but it's using an example. So you can kind of see, like, even the lettering kind of looks a bit cleaner. Like, it's very kind of splotchy on the left side. Same with the foliage, too, as well. I mean, the hair kind of looks weird on both ends. But you can kind of see the extra colors, extra shading, the rendering distance, everything else. It is noticeable. Like, it does look more realistic on the right side on the PS5 Pro quality mode. No matter what you want to say or what you want to go do, it does look better in that faction. And once again, it has a little bit more darker colors. It makes the contrast bigger. And while you have things like the foliage and stuff, it does look more realistic over on the right side. Although there was a few kind of controversies, we may cover this up in the next video because it is important to note. I do think some of the bigger comments were more that the Pro was not able to go maintain that 60 FPS while the PS5 could. I just want to remind people that most likely was because it was the Pro version and not the same version. Like, you have like the performance modes versus the fidelity modes versus the Pro mode. So obviously the Pro mode will be a little on the harder side. Either way, this is also another good example, too, as well for Ratchet & Clank. A lot of focus on the PlayStation games, which, once again, is the main reason why most folks will most likely be buying that. And you can kind of still see, once again, the better frame rate. It looks more efficient. The game still looks very similar, but certain things, such as even the tail. I also want to highlight the tail over there for a second. The tail, as you're spinning around, actually looks a lot more fuzzier over on the PS5 side. Very small differences, but you can kind of definitely go and look on this, just in my honest opinion. Now, is it the biggest deal? No. Do people sometimes even notice? No. But like, you can kind of go and tell some of the rotations on the character, and as the environment kind of changes, it is a lot cleaner on the Pro side. Once again, not the biggest deal. Is it worth the money for some? It might be. Is it worth the money for other people? Maybe not. And that's completely understandable, and that's why we're even talking about these videos. Make the decision that you want to make and spend the money how you want to. I'm not some Sony shill. I'm only maybe getting money. People pick up affiliate links, but most people have already bought their consoles at this point. So it's not a big change up for me if you guys do or don't. While I do appreciate it, obviously, thank you guys if you guys have, or if you guys do. It's not the end of the world if you guys do or don't, at least in my honest opinion. And also, once again, you guys can kind of see more on the PS5 versus the PS5 Pro, where once again, the shadows, the light textures, and even looking at the background, like more at the actual castle itself for this one, it just looks like it pops out a bit more for the Pro. You can kind of see the distance. It looks more realistic. This, if I want to go back a few seconds, this kind of looks more like, it kind of looks like it's copy pasted in. This looks like it's more blended on in. Same with the lighting just looks better. Like, it really just has a lot of ray traced lighting, shadow effects, and it just makes the game overall look more immersive. Some people, as I mentioned, are saying it's just more of a darker vibe. Some people are kind of saying it's more of a more immersive vibe. I think it's more on the immersive end, and it lets people appreciate the ray tracing. And of course, once they get in the spin test, because one is on 30 on the fidelity mode, while the other one's at 60. Although this, once again, look at how beautiful this looks. It's always kind of the hardest spot for me to find where to put my webcam over here. But like, this looks beautiful. Looking at the texture, the skin, the graphics, everything on it, it looks, in my honest opinion, phenomenal. Looks very, very good. And I do think it's an overall improvement because I've literally even seen Demon's Souls today to go and see if it's better or not. And one of the biggest ones out here has been Horizon. Now, Horizon's been probably the biggest one that people are saying they see the big differences on. And this is where things get kind of nutty. Like, they both look great, don't get me wrong, but I definitely see the difference on the PS5 Pro version. Although small, it is still small. I don't want to say I'm trying to go find a magnifying glass and fix it, but as well with the same frame rate issue. It does look nice in the same reference of the fidelity mode, while also having this Pro version that's slightly better. And I do see it. Myself, I do. I'm not lying to you guys when I see it. It might be hard to go and transpose on YouTube, but at the same time, it is a big deal when it comes to what we can see. So I want to hear your thoughts, because this was a little bit more focused on the PlayStation side. And I do think PlayStation itself, although is a big deal, and look at how nice this looks for The Last of Us, looks phenomenal in my opinion. And while the PS5 base version looked great, this does, in my honest opinion, see the bigger difference. Now, there's also a bit of a PS4 comparison too as well. I'm going to talk about some of the PS4 gameplay stuff. I made changes for a separate video if we even want to, because this has been a little bit of a longer video regardless. Just want to say I do appreciate you guys all so much for watching. Just want to mainly focus on the PlayStation side. We may see the part 2 of this at some point, but I don't want to have a 40-minute long video on all of this. So if you guys are brand new, make sure you guys are subscribed. If you guys would like, give me your thoughts and comments down below. Just be respectful. We do have the Twitters and down below, and the Twitches for the bonus giveaway entries. And of course, if you guys want to pick up your console, they're also linked down below. And I appreciate you all very much for watching here in the first place.